Hello everyone, welcome to today's GeoFS video, and in today's video I'm going to give you pretty much a beginner's guide to GeoFS, and this is going to be a long one, so feel free to skip around. You don't have to watch everything. If you already know something, don't be scared to skip ahead. And yeah, so it's pretty weird. I don't know why I'm making this one last. I should make this first. So if you're new to my channel and you're watching this first, good job. And so if you want to learn how to make, if you want to learn how to actually fly more realistically and get a ton of plugins and add-ons, then there's a playlist with a ton of useful videos that I highly recommend you check out. So let's start from the bare bones. So GeoFS is a free online flight simulator. So it runs in your web browser. So all you have to do is go to this link right here, geofs.com. I'll leave that in the description, and here you are at the homepage. So it's pretty long. Of course, I recommend creating a account, and you can sign in with Google or Facebook, or just create one with an email. So let's start from the top down. The instructions right here, we're kind of going to go over everything except for flying helicopters, balloons, and a ton of other. And you can come back to. We'll come back to this at the end of the video. But I do recommend you read. Let's go back to home. I do recommend you read some of this stuff and watch that video. That was a good video. I remember pretty much just read this whole main page. I recommend and so it'll give us a few basic controls. So plus and minus are the key to the throttle, which is wrong. 0 and 9 are to set the throttle directly. I'll go over that. Mouse can be used as a yoke. Blah blah blah. So let's get through that. So let's hop in the simulator. So first, you can just click this fly button, which is what I'm going to do. Or you can just click on one of these planes, and it will automatically load you in with that plane. However, I will show you how to change it mid-game. So I'm just going to go ahead and click fly. And here we are. So we'll give it this this quick briefing. We'll go over all this. So fly. And here we are. So already this looks really, really scary. One sec, let me turn my volume down just a bit. And what is happening? Okay. Let's let's just start from the beginning. Where are we? Let's go to New York and just spawn there, and that's where we'll go. So and I'll get in this panel, but first let me just get over the really bare bones. So let me just teleport over here. Don't be taking notes right here. I'll explain all this later, much more in depth. Sorry about that. So yeah, here we are in our plane. So let me just go over a quick few things on the bottom right here, these single buttons. So this button right here is pause. If you click that, it'll completely pause it. It'll pause the movement, it'll pause gravity, it'll pause everything, and turn off multiplayer. This button just mutes the sound, so once I click it, there, we've muted the sound, but we still have control over the plane, right? And then this over here is cycle UI visibility, so you can change this to a ton of different levels. This is to reset the flight, so you can just click that button and it'll reset it to where we last teleported. And this is to watch our flight. So here we can just watch our flight, and we have complete control over the camera. So yeah, let's speaking of camera, let's go over camera. So you can access different the main camera view. You can just you can press and hold to move around your camera. Left click and hold, and then just drag. And then you can, to reset it, click camera and then click reset. And there are a ton of different camera things that you can do. They vary by plane. So you can do extra views. But another thing is you can just press C, and it'll automatically switch you to the next one. And the cockpit is usually the first one, and it'll sometimes take a while to load. And you can use the scroll wheel, by the way, to zoom forward and backwards. And again, I highly recommend you're playing on a mouse. Otherwise, oh, okay. Sorry. So let me reset the camera, and let's go on down. So let's talk about switching aircraft. So all you have to do is click the aircraft button, and you'll see that there are a wide variety of planes right here. Some of them you can like change the livery to. So let's say I want to be in an A380, a Qantas A380. So all I have to do is just click the Qantas A380, and just like that, it'll load it in. There we go. Nope, not Emirates. There we go. Okay, it'll load it in. So and this will also reset the flight. So if I click reset flight right here, then it'll reset the flight. So yeah, and there's also one very important thing called community contributed. And if you flip this down here, you have access to so many more planes. And there are a lot. There aren't even planes. There's literally a freaking space shuttle. So yeah, have fun, go explore. But they do have pretty much every single commercial Airbus and Boeing plane out there. So yeah, these are and you can change the liveries, and I'll leave a video in the description to change the liveries on these community contributed aircraft. So yeah, now let's move on to location. So this is pretty simple. All you have to do is you can just like pretty much just navigate through, click through where we want to go. Let's say we want to go to like Italy, we could click that, Mount Everest. We could go on this selection of runways, and then of course there's special approaches like this one. Oh, okay. Here, we'll just let's just chill. We'll just chill down here. And another thing you can do is you can type a airport ICAO code. So if for those of you who don't know, usually an airport code like JFK, that's a 3-letter airport code, but its ICAO code is a 4-letter code. So JFK becomes KJFK, and that first letter right here specifies its region. But it doesn't just like add a letter. Like for example, London, LHR, London Heathrow, right? But its ICAO code is EGLL. So yeah, and I'm sorry. Let me just let's work to like KJFK. Let's work to John F. Kennedy, and it'll just all I have to do is press go, and you're there. Hopefully, yeah, we're here. We're a little high, but okay. Well, okay, sorry. I'll just pause you. So yeah, I think. Oh yeah, and I think I forgot to go over a shortcut. So like to pause, you can press P. Sound is S. The UI visibility is H. Reset the flight is R, and then watch is V. Sorry about that. And oh yeah, all the way over here. Here you can toggle full screen. So yeah. Now let's go over options. So GeoFS gives you a lot of options, and that's really cool. So first, let's go over the controls. You'll see that you can switch between your keyboard, your mouse, and your joystick. Your joystick, of course, you'd have to buy and plug in, and you can configure that. And I don't have one, and maybe if I get one, I'll make a video on how to. So for mouse, you can just click configure, and that's pretty simple. And then so yeah, mouse, and not to mention, mouse only controls like the yoke, like the keyboard controls. Actually, let's go over keyboard controls. So click on configure, and these settings are the same, but these you have complete power over. So yeah, you can change these if you want. I usually keep them, but again, I fly with my mouse as the throttle, not the keyboard. So so you could change these up if you want, but it's up to you. But yeah, so the thing is, if I have mine on mouse, right, and I'm controlling it with my mouse, but let's say I want to turn my gear down, if I press G, it wouldn't completely ignore that keyboard command. It would lower the gear. And you can also, if you press and hold M a bit, you'll see that it shows mouse off, and then you can just click it or just press M to enable mouse controls. So yeah, that's useful if like you're flying, and then you can just press and hold it and say you want to like turn the open up the options panel and change something. So yeah, that's controls for you. General, well, it's just like change your like sound and stuff. I think I had that good. This will detect a crash, so this is a perfect scenario. You can save and close, and then resume, and then once you hit that, it'll go as that you crashed and click to reset. And since we crashed earlier, there wasn't really a problem with that. So yeah, let me pause really quickly, and let's go on to probably the most important panel. Or wait, no, we still have some options to go. My bad. And then you can like multi-monitor it, so kind of just like split it in half if you want. I don't, even though I have to. Then you have multiplayer, so you can turn on these community contributed like 3D models. It'll only come if you're like flying like right next to someone, and still it looks really cool. Otherwise, it looks pretty weird, so it's fine. And then you can enable multiplayer or disable multiplayer whether you want. It controls lag, so I'll just go ahead and disable it for the sake of my 13 FPS. And yeah, you can. There's also an in-game chat. However, it's not monitored. And yeah, so this is yeah. Make sure that you're 13. Just read this, and you have to have an account. So yeah, but otherwise you just press like the I think there's a talk button down there once chat is enabled, and then yeah, you're chilling. So let me shut this down and let's go to graphics. So here you can pretty much just set your like performance or quality, like which one you care about more. So if you care about your quality more, you'd set it all the way up, or if you care about your performance mode, you go low. And then there's some advanced settings down here. I don't really know what that is, I'm gonna be honest. And then you have your color enhancement, and then here you have a ton of different settings. Like I like to turn on buildings, especially like it looks really cool during the approaches and stuff. And you can add whatever you want, but don't add a water effect. It's pretty bad. I'll tell you that. It is pretty bad. Like if you try landing in the water, it'll cause a lot of lag and stuff. Whereas if you have it off, it'll kind of just like bounce like it's land. But another cool thing is you can turn on show yoke mouse cursor. So that means your mouse cursor turns into this gray little yoke right here when it's on the screen. So that's kind of cool, I guess. And then yeah, then you have environment. So here this is actually really cool. So if you turn this set environment manually off, then so right now we're in New York. It's pitch black because I'm currently recording this at midnight. So it'll give you the real-time wind and the real-time like time and everything at that exact same time. So that's super cool. And when you're like flying like from place to place, it's really cool. But again, if you want, you can set the time of day, the weather, the season, and all this stuff like turbulences, winds. So like if you want to like practice landing in harsh conditions, you can set it manually and turn some of this stuff on. And then yeah, and then debug info is just debug info. I guess nothing real exciting. So yeah, and then you can obviously reset your settings, and then after each change, make sure you click save and close. So now let's get on to the most important panel, the nav panel. So the nav panel is a map of the entire world. So over here you can zoom out, and yeah, so this game has everything in the entire world. You can go anywhere, and it's there. So yeah, so let's go over just like warping. If you're wondering what like these like red things and these things, these are all for radio navigation. So let me talk about radio really quickly. So it's complicated. I'll leave there's actually a good video about like flying with this radio. It's really complicated. Yeah, I'm not gonna be using that if you're just wondering what those things were. But so yeah, all these blue dots then and these yellow dots, they represent runways. So to warp to a runway, all you need to do is just click on it, and then you have three options. You can either take off from, fly by, or approach. So if we were to fly by, it'd teleport us like 4,000, 5,000 feet above that runway. Oh, we're paused. There. And then, so then if we wanted to approach, it'd give us like some leeway, and we could approach. I don't have time to flex my totally awesome landing. And then if you want to take off, you can just click this takeoff button, and it'll spawn you right on that runway. So yeah, another cool thing is that you can actually warp anywhere. So if I wanted to go teleport to Antarctica, I could. So let's do so. So where is Antarctica? Just keep going, keep scrolling. Here it is. So all you need to do is you don't even need a runway in sight. You can just right click on the map and then click your altitude or your GPS fix, and that video I was talking about will go over it. So let's go to ground, and guys, we're in Antarctica, I think. Let's unpause real quickly. That's crazy. I've actually never tried that. Why didn't I try that before? Okay. Sorry, I'm having too much fun. Let's get back to business. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the nav panel. Of course you can use these buttons to zoom in and out instead of the mouse buttons, but be careful because the home button, the GeoFS homepage button, is right by the plus key, so don't mix that up. Another thing that you can do is this create flight path button. So if you click it, you can kind of just like draw, and just like by clicking make a little route, and then like fill it in and like move it and stuff. Move it and stuff like that. And then so yeah, it's really good for just like once you're like not using autopilot, just kind of like guide your way out of an airport or something. And then just in case you don't accidentally do something like this while you're trying to move, you can click create flight path, and then if you try and click anywhere else, it won't let you. Only when it's green it'll let you edit, and then you can just clear path just to get rid of it. So let's warp back to JFK, and let's go over the next thing. Alright, so let's go over all the stuff about the aircraft that we have control of. So I'm going to quickly switch my aircraft to a Boeing 737 United Airlines. There we go. So let's go over all of these dials right here. Oh, my battery's low. Okay, so let's just work left to right. So this one is based on GPS, and again, I'll leave that video. This works with that radio, so we'll have it on my camera. And this just shows like what direction you're pointing. So right now we're facing sort of east, I guess. And then this shows our indicated airspeed in knots. So let me explain what that is. So a knot is kind of like a way of measuring like miles per hour. Like planes like traveling like 200 knots is like the same thing as saying like it's going X miles per hour. So it's just a unit for speed. And I don't know the exact conversion from like mile per hour to knot. It's just what boats use and planes use in navigation. And another thing, there's also a difference between like indicated airspeed and true airspeed. I'll leave a video about that down in the description. So indicated airspeed, which is what this style is showing how fast you go at like a certain altitude. So like if I was at like 39,000 feet and going a certain amount of speed, that'd be my indicated airspeed, what my speed is up there. But then the true airspeed is how fast you'd be going if you were on the ground. So my speed on the ground and my speed at 39,000 feet are much different. So that's why airplanes like actually fly as high as they do instead of just like cruising at like 5,000 feet. So yeah, and then this right here, I'm sure you've probably seen this. This is kind of just like kind of how high we're pointing. So this dot right here and these lines show like where you're pointing. The blue, of course, is the sky. The brown is the ground, and then the white line is the is the ground. And then it'll also show like you're turning and all that. So I'll go over all that. So then this is your altitude. It's not just a number, and I'll explain. It's actually, people think it's really complicated, but it's actually really easy to understand, and it'll make a lot more sense once we've actually taken off. And this style right here shows our feet per minute. So that's pretty much how high you're climbing. It shows your vertical speed. So if we're at, like, if the dial's at 1, that means we're traveling vertically 1,000 feet per minute. And if it was at, like, down here at 2, then we'd be going down at 2,000 feet per minute. So yeah, and then this last one shows how fast your engine is rotating. So right now I have my sound off, right? So if I were to, like, increase my speed, it would show on there. I'll do that actually later once we take off. So yeah, then we have these things to go around on the side, and these are really simple. So gear is just the wheels. So gear down means the wheels are down. Once we're in the sky, we'll put gear up, which just means wheels up. So gear means wheels. Pretty easy to understand on a plane. So we have brakes, which are just the brakes. They prevent the wheels from rolling. So they're useful, like, once you're landing, to slow the plane down. Then you have the spoilers. Let me actually switch to a different camera view, because I'm sure you've seen these on a plane before. Here, so if we turn spoilers on right here, it'll open those things to you. And those things are just the air brake. And what that does is it'll also slow the plane down and kind of nose it down. Then you have the flaps. So the flaps can be set, it varies by plane, but this one can go all the way up to 8, which is pretty high. And what this does is it pretty much helps the plane, like, glide, and it gives the plane, like, more of an increase in feet per minute. So once you're landing and you're trying to really keep your speed really slow, you'll use flaps instead of increasing speed and pulling up to save on that speed and make a softer landing. So yeah, and then of course the keys for flaps are F, so you could just press F. Spoilers are B. Brakes to turn them on and off, it's semicolon, but you can press and hold space to temporarily turn the brakes on. And then gear is just G. So yeah, that's that. So let's talk about taxiing and, like, pushback and takeoff. So again, I like to use the mouse, so let's go over how that works. So it's not actually the opposite direction. What I like to think of it is where your mouse is pointing is where the wind is pushing. So if we have our throttle up here, this means we're going to go down because we're putting wind right above the plane, and that's going to push the plane down. Whereas if we go up, so like when we're taking off, we'll pull up, and what that does is, like, pushing wind underneath us to take us off. Same thing for left and right. So this way to go left, and pull right to go right. So yeah, I recommend just, like, horsing around and just, like, not even caring about your takeoff and landing, just getting to know how they work and being able to, like, control yourself, like be able to say like right, left, and just being able to turn like that. And then so yeah, let me turn my sound on, and there's one thing, let's go for turning our engine on and off. So right now you'll see that we are at, this dial is our rotations per minute, our engines. So let's take a look at that. So right now they're currently spinning, right? But so this is, when it's on 10, that's idle, right? So let me turn the brakes on real quickly. So if we press E, watch your ears. Oh, that wasn't too loud. What I'll do is I'll set it down to 0 rotations per minute. But once it's at 10, that means it's at idle. That means it's on, but it's not giving any thrust. It's just, like, on, right? That's like, it's like the 0 is your computer, like it's like your laptop being closed. The 10 is like your iPad opened. I mean, not iPad, your computer opened, but the password not put in. And everything after that is your computer with the iPad. I mean, the computer with the password put in. What is wrong with me? So yeah. So when you take off, you'll mostly want to be at, like, 70 to 80% power. And again, this can all be controlled by the number keys or increase throttle. So I was talking earlier about how the plus and minus key were wrong. It's actually page up and page down keys. So some keyboards don't have them, which is actually pretty sad. And page down is the only way to reverse thrust as well. So let me turn the engine back on. E. Let me reset the camera. Okay, so here we are at idle. Again, idle is 0. So if you want to go to idle, you can just press 0. So 0 is 10, that means 1 is 20, 2 is 30, 3 is 40, and so on, all the way up till 9 is 100. So, yeah, let me actually lower this, the volume of this. There. So, yeah, we'll use the number keys to control, and that's only going going forward. If we wanted to go backwards, you'd press page down a couple times. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and it'll sound like we're increasing our thrust, but in reality, you'll see those engines open. Okay, let me go back to 0 and turn on my brakes to slow my plane down. And you'll see that you saw that the engine opened, and that's reverse thrust right there. So yeah, let's taxi, and taxiing is kind of driving the plane. So let's turn our brakes off. Let me set my flaps down to 0 because we won't need those. And then so yeah, I recommend being at like 30 to 40% power. So I'm gonna turn this on and then just kind of drive my plane around. So let's pause really quickly and let's open up the nav panel. And if we zoom in all the way, you'll see that these blue lines right here along the side of the runways are taxiways. Those are kind of like the roads. So the runway is, of course, where you're taking off, but the taxiway is like where you're driving. And you'll see that sometimes they lead to nothing. Those will usually be like taking you to the gates or taking you to like a storage hangar or wherever. So let's unpause. And here we can drive. So let's try and turn onto this taxiway right here. So let's kind of turn our way in, then quickly turn our way back. Let me pause real quickly. So that was really bad. What I should have done was gone down to idle and turned the brakes on and tried to slow myself down, and then sped back up because that was a 90-degree turn. So like 90-degree turns are really hard, like on planes. So again, it takes a lot of practice. So let me try and save myself. Nope, that didn't work. Oh well, let's just get ourselves to a gate now that we're already here. So let's just looks like we're on a taxiway right here. Yeah, and I think there's a terminal further up for sure. I don't know about the one big here. It looks like we're about to run into buildings. So yeah, when you're taxiing, I highly recommend having buildings on. You know, I think the taxiway is like right over here actually. Yeah, so let's get to a gate. So right here, right there, I see gates. So I'm just gonna kind of slow down, turn the brakes on, go to idle, and always check that airspeed dial for what's up. So let's pause really quickly, and you'll see right here. Let's go to let's switch our camera views. You'll see right over there. Those are the bridges from the gate to the plane. So let's try and park ourselves at one of those. So it really just takes practice. There's not really a method other than just lining yourself up as best as possible. And turn the brakes off and go. Another thing I highly recommend you do is using reverse thrust to slow yourself down. So I'll pause real quickly and just turn the camera angle just so we can sort of see where we're going. And another thing I should mention is that oh shoot, okay. Another thing I should mention is that your controls are still locked in. Just because you turn the camera doesn't mean that's where your controls are centered to. It's still centered to the middle of the screen. So oh shoot, that was pretty bad. So let's try and slow ourselves down before we run into the building. See, we're pretty lined up, right? So page down. Nope, too late. It's okay. You can drive through buildings, apparently. So I'm gonna go reverse thrust backwards, and then pull myself forward. Yeah. So what am I doing? Okay, I think that worked, right? We're no, we're still in the building a bit. Come on. Okay. Okay, there. That should be good. No, stop. Bad plane. Okay, it's totally not hitting it right there, okay? So yeah, there's also a ton of cool stuff you can do. You can press Z to like open the doors. I think it's on the other. It varies by plane, okay? Or you could press X to do something else. You can configure this all in your settings, and it varies by plane. I don't think this plane has it, but yeah, let's let me quickly reset the camera. So yeah, now let's taxi our way to a runway. So we kind of just drove here for nothing. We'll get some more practice in. So let's turn off our brakes and press page down a bit, and kind of get that pushback. And again, the right and left controls are reversed on pushback, like in reverse. So kind of like driving a car. So we'll pull left to go right, and then let's right about now let's just kind of go forward. Again, I'm a terrible taxier, by the way. I just want to put that out there. So yeah, you're probably not learning from the best right here. I'm just explaining how it's done. Whoa, please don't hit. Dang it. All right. Let's kind of please just try and kind of get somewhat organized right here. Yeah, the passengers are probably wondering what's going on. So, okay, let's just take off from this runway that we're getting close to. I'm gonna push up the speed a bit. So yeah, speed is one of the most vital things in aircraft flying, whether it be speed for taking off, speed for cruising, speed for landing, speed for taxiing. Speed is just really important in general. So, again, we're gonna have to make kind of a 180, so I'm gonna want to be really slow right here. As we make this turn onto this little, like, no, we still have a bit to go, actually. So we're at, like, 50 knots, that's sort of good, I guess. And then let's just, turn in quickly, hopefully. Alright, let's just kind of turn our way down. So you want to put, like, just get a little bit of momentum and then really pull, and even like put your brakes on just to get that full 180 turn. So yeah, it can be slow, it can be tedious, but trust me, you gotta do what you gotta do, I guess. So I'm gonna pull really hard, try and get that 180 turn, pull all the way to the edge, and almost there. Wow, we sort of did it. So, yeah, now it's time for takeoff. Yay. So, what we're going to do is usually when planes take off, they set their flaps to half. Usually, that's just kind of my rule of thumb. It varies by plane. You can just do a quick Google search. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and do half right here. Of course, you're going to want to have your brakes off. And, so yeah, this is going to be your first takeoff. It's always a little nervous, I guess. So, yeah, kind of keep your throttle above the plane to kind of keep it from pulling up too early. You want to try and generate enough speed, just to try and like center yourself on the runway. And then most planes take off once they reach about 150 knots. So that's going to be right in between that 100 and 200. It's hard to point out things with this cursor skin. So, let's turn our brakes off, semicolon. And then let's go on that 70 to 80% power. I'm going to go on 80, so I'm going to press 7. And then keep this high, and let's just kind of stabilize ourselves. Okay, so 7. And here we go. So I'm going to keep ourselves in the middle of the runway. Middle of the runway, sorry, you can see the runway lines. So we're getting to about 100 knots. We're gonna keep pushing down, and once we get to 150 knots, we're not gonna like yank the throttle down. We're gonna really gently pull. So we're getting close to 150. We're gonna slowly just pull down, really slowly, and that'll give us a beautiful takeoff, just like that. And so right about here is good. You can hold it. You can push up if you want. You can add or lower flaps. So now let's put our gear up. So let's press G, and you'll see that it starts to turn like yellow, and the gear will put itself up, just like that. So for some planes, like really big planes, like an A380 or a 747, it'll take a long time. But other planes, it shouldn't really be a problem. So let me explain the altitude right here. So right now you can see the altitude dial. You see that one skinny hand. I'm actually turning my mouse off. You'll see this one skinny hand right here that's moving pretty fast, right? Then you'll see this one that's moving slow, and this one that's moving even slower. So let me sort of get into a climb. So let me turn my mouse back on, and I'm gonna pull up really high. And you don't want to pull too high, otherwise you'll stall. And the stall is kind of just like where like you just like spiral out of control because like you either had too little speed, too much speed at a certain altitude. So or you like pulled too high and the plane just kind of just like pushed itself upwards. So yeah, right about now I'm gonna go ahead and pause just so you can see this dial. So and let me so you can see the cursor easier. So let's go over each of the dials going down. So each dial represents a certain range of number. So the skinny one, the really skinny one that goes all the way out, represents the 10,000 feet. The fat and short one represents the 1,000 feet, and then the sort of medium-sized long one represents the hundreds feet. So what we can do is we can estimate our altitude and give a really good estimate of where we are, right? So we'll always want to start with the 10,000s and move our way in, right? So let's look at the skinny one. We're in between 0 and 1. That means we're in between 0 feet and 10,000 feet. And since this is the 10,000 feet 10,000 feet dial, we know that it's 10,000 feet, not like 0 and 100 feet, right? So we got that down. Let's make a mental note of that in our head. And then let's check the next dial. So let's go down to the thousands. So right now we're in between 4 and 5, right? So 4 and 5,000 feet, we'll just want to make sure that's in between the 0 feet and 10,000 feet, which it is. So now we can say that we're like 4,000 feet high, right? Like we can tell we're okay, 4,000 feet high right now. But if we want to get even more accurate, we can look at the hundreds hand. And so right here, it looks like it's right about at that 3. So we can easily say with confidence that we're at 4,300 feet. And then, of course, each one of these little tiles represents, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's like each one of these represents 20 feet after that, I believe, on that. So yeah, that's how to calculate the altitude. It's really simple. It looks really complicated, but once you start looking at it a lot, which I promise you will, you'll get used to it really easily. And so yeah, you'll see that we're kind of pointing upwards. So let's unpause and put the mouse back on. So I'm gonna put another thing is look at the middle dial, the one with the sky. You'll see that we're pointing up to the sky. If we were to put our nose down, let's just turn off all these flaps. You'll see that we're pointing towards the ground. You can point it towards the ground, and you'll see our vertical feet per minute tile is going down, or dial is going down 2. That's to the right of the altitude, and it'll even show up once we turn. So like if we were to pull down here and sort of turn away from New York City, you'll see that on the middle dial right there, we're in that bit of a turn. So yeah, let's here we are. Let's kind of level ourselves out and turn on autopilot. So let me double check what my autopilot button was. I usually like to keep it as tab, but since I'm on an alt, I don't know. I think it's default. So yeah, autopilot is A. So let's just go over basic autopilot. Turn on our nav panel and unpause. That's a little high. And we can just click A. And here we have our autopilot on. So this is everything that we've got going right here. We have our IAS, HDG, altitude, and burst speed. So this is our altitude right here, right? So let's say we want to climb a bit higher. So let's say we want our altitude to be at like, let's say we want to be at like 20,000 feet, right? And then our vertical speed, let's say we want it to be at like 2,400 feet per minute. And there, it'll automatically control itself. Oh look, it's Central Park. Look at that. And yeah, it'll control itself. Oh well, it's automatically doing it now since it's autopilot. And so yeah, so now we have our speed, which is an IAS. So again, we talked about TAS and IAS, true airspeed. This is indicated airspeed right here. So let's increase our speed a bit to like 250 knots, and we can climb. And then the last thing is our heading, which is just what way we're turning. So make sure we click the green on HDG, not the nav button. Green HDG, and let's we can increase our heading, and that's just what direction we're turning. So here, let's say we want to turn around. Just kind of recenter left. Let's say we want to bank left. Yeah, and then it'll automatically control it since it's autopilot. And then the nav goes with that radio control too. So there's a lot of controls to that radio navigation flying. And yeah, that video is really good. It's really interesting. It's just I don't have the brains to memorize all that. So yeah, this is already taking up too much of my brain. So yeah, that's flying and that's cruising. So yeah. Okay, so now let's kind of go over landing and approach. So this sounds hard, and it sort of is. It depends on which way you take it. So most pilots, or not pilots, most of us pretend pilots, will once we get like to the end of an airport, right, we'll turn off autopilot and kind of freehand the landing, because one, it's more fun and intense, and two, it provides way more accurate results. So all we can do, let's just do a practice landing right here, and I'm just gonna pause really frequently everything. So let's turn autopilot off right here, and let's click on approach. So let's quickly pause. Oh, we are paused. So here's kind of what we're gonna do. We're like I think 5,000 feet, 10,000 feet, and a couple feet away, couple under like 1,000 feet away. So what I like to do is I like to create a line on the runway. So we're going into runway 4L, right? So what I like to do is I like to draw a line. So let's move our first marker right here, and let's move the next one like back here. And let's just kind of pull that back a little bit and center it with the runway right in the middle of that little like air right here. And then we can zoom in, and yeah, it's pretty close to the runway. We can move this over just a little bit. Yeah. And then we can click create flight path just in case we accidentally mess it up. So yeah, now we have our line, and let's unpause. So first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to go on our gear down. So let's put our gear down, and we'll also put our brakes on, because you're going to land with your brakes. And so yeah, let's quickly do that. G and then semicolon, and then let's pause. So what you want to do is you want to be on about 30 rotations per minute. So switching between 2 and 0 key for your speed on the way down. And for your vertical, for your negative feet per minute, you want to be in between the 0 and the 2. So if you go anywhere beyond that, don't pull up, just add a flap or two. So let's go ahead and pause, unpause, and let's control our speed. So Alright, so we're going low. We'll add some flaps. So in some scenarios, you're going to want to pull down. Here we have a lot of flaps. Let's go ahead and go down to like 3 flaps. Okay, that was a rough. This is going to be a rough one I did. So yeah, you're just going to kind of want to control that. We're losing. Put on some more flaps. So yeah, let's just kind of keep this above, sort of. Okay, this is a bad one. Let me just, let's just reset and start over. I just wanted to get that gear down, the brakes, and the flaps down. And then once on this one, we'll just cover the flare, the air brake, and the actual touchdown. So let's reset, press R, and then we'll reset our flaps. Darn it. So let's put our gear down. Okay. So we're kind of centered right here. Let's just kind of keep on pulling up. We're getting low. We'll add some flaps, like 2 flaps or so. I'll actually add 4. We'll kind of just push down, keep in between that 2 and that 0. So right at 1 is the perfect sweet spot. We'll push down a bit. Kind of just remember to keep turning left and right to kind of navigate your way towards that runway. So right here, this looks at about a sweet spot. So I'm going to go ahead and pause and let's go over our game plan. So first, yeah, I said the word flare. What is a flare? So what a flare is a pilot will pull up right as they're about to touch down and land with their back wheels first. What those will do is it'll slow themselves down and provide a much smoother landing. So let's go ahead and resume. And so let's take a look at our speed. We're going pretty fast. So while we're doing our flare, what we're gonna do is we're gonna reduce our speed down to 0, and we're gonna pull up just a little bit, not too much. Otherwise, if we pull up too much, then we're gonna miss the ground and just fly straight up, and we'll have a much harder landing. We're gonna have to force ourselves down. So yeah, and that's all controlled by flaps too. So don't reset your flaps on a flare. And then once we touch down, we're gonna turn on our air brake, which will prevent us from flying up. And then we're also going to go back to 30 RPM, which will prevent us from instantly landing on our back wheels and then smacking down on the ground. So don't know how this is going to play out, especially since I paused. But let's just hope for the best. So keep that game plan in your mind and just kind of watch the show. So here we are, and once we get to about like 50 feet, we're gonna do so. So yeah, so on that one, I pulled up way too much, just because I don't know, I got scared and I lagged, and I possibly. So you saw what happened. Let's actually watch. Let's actually just keep this going. So yeah, if we'll have to do that, we'll usually have to just smack down like that, and like bounce. Oh my gosh, that was a crash. Oh shoot. Okay, so let's go ahead and just watch that flight. Why isn't it letting me? Oh, come on. Okay, wait. Let me change that setting really quickly. Where is it? General here. Okay. Save and close. Nav. Okay. Dang it, stupid. Reset. All right. Let's just let's just try again. So pause. We're gonna go gear down, or gear down. Yeah. Brakes. So we're kind of losing a bit. Something's wrong with our flaps. Okay, let's kind of add some flaps. This is a really wonky approach right here with the altitude, especially let's kind of get to the center of the runway. Let's add another flap to try and get back over there too. Let's just push ourselves down a bit. So right here, this is a pretty good glide path. So we're going to pull up right here. So 0, pull up, 3. Yeah, kept on pulling up, but that was better. I'm doing really bad right now. This is just a bad day. Let's just I guess so yeah, that's pretty much just the landing right there. I'm gonna just keep on trying until I get a good landing. Yeah, I can't do it on command. No, I'm just kidding. I'm lagging a lot. That's my excuse. Right, just sort of right here, so we're sort of stabilized right here. Just kind of push ourselves down a little bit. Okay, there. Except we're going to want to put up a few of our flaps. We're getting a little too low to the ground, for my comfort at least. We're going to be at 100 feet, about 100 feet right as we cross the white lines. There we go. Add another flap. So let's go down to engine 0. Idle, pull up. And there we go. That was sort of a flare. That was a bad flare though, but a decent landing for, it's safe to say. So let's kind of move our camera. So kind of just focus on this. So it's really that last like 2 or 3 seconds when you're turning your air brake on and you're doing the flare is where it matters the most. So that actually wasn't that bad of a landing. If I wanted to, I could have held my flare for a little bit longer, but in that case I'd have to pull down a little bit more, and that was a little too far for my comfort. So it's completely up to you and your experience. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have in stock for y'all today. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching and sticking around. I know this was long. Yeah, thanks again. And for that, I'm giving you a special prize. I'm going to show you how to remove this annoying ad banner. So in case you didn't know, GeoFS has HD, right? So what HD does is it replaces its regular satellite images with HD graphics from Microsoft Bing or Google Maps. I can't remember which one off the top of my head. And it also removes this bad ad banner. But I'll give you one for free, right? So I can't give you both. So hovering over it, press and hold Control, Shift, and I. Make sure you're on Chrome too. This will bring you to the Inspector tab. So right here, make sure you're on the Elements tab right here. And then find the thing that says Div and Class. And then the one that says Add Banner right here. Click on it, and then just click the Del or delete key. And then it's gone. You can close it, and look at that, no more ad banner. Would you look at that? So yeah, thanks again for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. See ya.